Hey guys, so in today's video we're going to be talking more about major and minor scales. In our last video we talked about doing the pentatonic scale, where you go 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8 for the position of A minor. Now what we're going to add to that today is, if you think of a pentatonic minor as starting from the first finger, if you actually start from the pinky and do the exact same shape going down the guitar, it becomes pentatonic major. So for that, it would just be like starting this scale, where we're going to start from here on the pinky. Instead of starting from A, we're going to think of C. So C. So it's going to be like this, just going up the scale just like before. For the C chords of C major pentatonic. So if we start again from the first finger, it's A minor pentatonic. A minor pentatonic, start from the pinky, C major pentatonic. So just like in the last video how we learned how to do the pentatonic scale starting from the 6th string and also the 5th string, we're going to do the same thing today with the basic major and minor scales. And we're going to play them just in 2 octaves, and then we can move those up and play more octaves than that, but just today we're going to learn how to do the 2 octave scales. To start with, we're going to start with good old C major, and it's actually easiest to start with on the 5th string here. So if you play the 3rd fret of the 5th string, that's going to be C, and we're going to play the scale in that position. Okay, and so here we have a standard C major scale shape that a lot of students learn in the beginning. Now this is just 1 octave, but I just want to make sure that you know about this standard shape. So if you're playing classical guitar or learning your scales, you're definitely going to be familiar with this position. So it goes 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. Okay? So again, we're starting on the 5th string, we're playing 3, 5 on the 5th string, then we're playing 2, 3, 5 on the 4th string, then we're playing 2, 4, 5 on the 3rd string. So all together, C major. Okay? Now I like this shape a lot. However, when I start to play 2 octave versions of C major, I actually like to do a different shape where I play 3 notes per string. So this is a 2 octave version of C major starting from the 5th string, and this is the one that I prefer to play if I'm playing multiple octaves. So it goes starting from the 5th string, 3, 5, 7, then on the 4th string, 3, 5, 7, then on the 3rd string, 4, 5, 7, 2nd string, 5, 6, 8, and then 1st string, 5, 7, 8. Okay? And again, you should know the notes for that already. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You know, it's just the alphabet with no sharps or flats, just all natural notes. So basically, this is a great position to play 2 octaves of C. You start on 1 octave, then you get up to the 2nd octave. So you play 1 scale octave, 2 scale octaves. Okay? This one is also good if you're doing what we call legato, and you move your fingers up, kind of you connect the notes all together instead of picking every single note. So that's really handy if you're in this position. You can do a lot of cool legato stuff like that. So 3 note per string scales are pretty cool, especially that position. I've always kind of liked that for C major. So now we're going to talk about the C major scale in 2 octaves starting from the 6th string over here. Okay, and then for a 2 octave version of the C major scale starting from the 6th string, the one I like to do is 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 10, 12, 13. And it ends there. If you want to go to the next string, I put in parentheses, you can keep going at 10, 12, 13. It just leads more notes up into another octave of the C major scale. But for right now, we're just playing. And that's 2 octaves of the C major scale starting down here from the root being on the 6th string. Now there are other ways to do this scale, of course. You can do the more standard, where you start here. But, you know, I just find that, for me, I can go a lot faster, and I like the way I find the notes better when I do it this way. So that's just my preference. Now, an important thing to note about these scales is that, since they have no zeros in them, these scales start from a number fret on the guitar. So 8 represents C. So if I were to move this whole scale shape down 3 frets, I would be in A major. So wherever the starting note is, we call that the root note, or the tonic also. Wherever that note is where the scale starts from, and we consider that the key. So just like we learned our notes on the guitar, the reason this is in C is because it's on the 8th fret. Okay, so this is a shape on the guitar that we can move around to any key. And unlike piano, scale shapes on the guitar are universal if you play them starting from the same string. So I can take this exact same shape and move it down to this fret and play G major. I can move it up here and play B major if I want to do that, you know. So that's why we really want to learn our scale shapes on the guitar. And as for the minor scales, we're actually going to start with the C minor shape, because the A minor shape, you either want to play it in open position or on 12th fret if you're playing it from the 5th string. So I think in the beginning, to learn the actual shape, it makes more sense to both start from the 3rd fret, or the same root as you do with the C major scale, but just turn it into a minor scale. Okay? And we'll talk about the exact notes and how all that works later, but for right now, we're just learning the scale shapes on the guitar, and we'll incorporate all that other stuff later. Okay, and so for the C minor scale, starting on the 5th string, we're going to play the frets 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6, and then you can slide up to the 8th fret for the octave to complete the 2 octaves. Okay, so again, that's. Okay, and of course with any of these scales, you want to try to also play them backwards. Right, I'm going to go up and down the scales and get used to that shape, just so it's like, if I move that up to say the 7th fret, which would be E minor, I can do the same shape. Or say I want to do G minor up here on the 10th fret. It's all just the same shape, you just move it around on the guitar. So the minor scale shape is very useful on guitar. We actually probably play minor scales more than major scales on the guitar, at least in rock music. Okay, and here's the C minor scale shape that I like to play starting from the 6th string. So it goes 8, 10, 11, 8, 10, 11, 8, 10. Then you go to the next string and play 7, 8, 10, 8, 9, 11, and then 8 is the end of the octave, back to C. So if you want to keep going, you go to 10, 11, okay? But all the notes in that scale, in that shape, they work really well because that kind of follows the pentatonic minor also. You can go in and out. So you can play in and out the pentatonic minor, and also this shape, the full minor scale, the C natural minor is what we call it. So that's a shape that I like to play. Now you might notice that from here I went to the 7th fret instead of going up continually from here. I just like this option better. I prefer it for my fingers to be able to go down to the 7th fret, and in this shape I like where the fingers fall on these frets. So these are preferred shapes that I've always chose to play that are my favorite versions of doing these scales. However, like I said, there are other shapes that you might play in different styles of music that might be more suitable. Like in classical, they might really prefer for you to play it with a different, more standard fingering because you're actually reading the notes following like a finger position pattern. So I've always found these scale shape positions to be the most useful for me though, and they work fine for reading also. It's just a matter of knowing the notes and where they are. So again, these are the major scales and minor scales, 2 octave versions starting on the 6th string and also the 5th string. We did them both for C major and also C minor.